Oh, no. Another blown lead, another great Yusei Kikuchi start. And what does that mean? That means Yusei Kikuchi's trade stock has now risen once again.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of Locked On Blue Jays is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. I'm Braden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, as you guys have been doing quite a bit lately. Braden5 Wasco, Carter First 2. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Blue Jays. Drop a subscription if you're new here on YouTube. Helps us out a ton, keeps us the top of your guys' page. It really, really does help. We notice a lot of you guys aren't subscribed. Just take a quick second, hit the button. It's so super easy. And if you're watching anywhere else or listening anywhere else, we really appreciate it. Brutal game. I mean, it gave you a lot of hope throughout that whole game. Yusei Kikuchi was an absolute beast. But another blown lead. That's just where we are now as Blue Jays fans. We sort of have to expect this. What does this mean for Yusei Kikuchi? That's the big topic today. This is a guy that I think everybody expected to be on the trade block. It came out that he is on the trade block. Will he get traded is the big question. We are going to cover all the trades. We'll be going live. We'll have our TikToks and Instagram reels as long as we're both not at work, but we are having Dal, Skylar, whoever we need to on standby so that we can get at least the information to you as quickly as we can, and then do a full breakdown if anybody does get traded on the next day's podcast. We are going to do a big trade deadline, sort of two-piece episode covering everybody, roundtable topic, bring everybody together, sort of have a discussion on who's going to leave, who won't leave, what are the Blue Jays options. You can look out for that coming closer to the trade deadline, probably after the All-Star break at some point. But Carter, let's get right into it, man. Yusei Kikuchi, I know where I stand on this. Just your overall thoughts. Maybe start with the stats, but overall thoughts on Yusei Kikuchi so far this season.
I'm just going to start with a quick little thing from today's game. Career high in strikeouts, 13 strikeouts, just making the Giants hitters look silly. Matt Chapman accounts for 3 of them. Just ricochet Matt Chapman there. But it's just ridiculous, man. The slider looked unreal. The curveball, the fastball was moving, other than the one to Tyler Fitzgerald, I believe it was. Just 92, a little bit of a muffin down the middle. But again, that's going to happen. It's tough, man. I don't know. Like there's nothing else to say about it. You go 7 1/3 innings and you give up 2 runs and you just don't win the game. So, well, I'll get more into the game after this though. But Yusei Kikuchi stats on the year. Points loss records don't matter. He's 4-8. She shouldn't be 4-8. Like there's simply no way. He doesn't get the loss for today. Luckily for him. But no decision. It's tough, man. It's tough out here. So for in this season so far, Yusei Kikuchi, 4 ERA on 19 games started. He has 101 innings pitched, 111 strikeouts, a whip of 127. A guy that's he goes out there and just steals. That's all he does from the left side. Very high velocity in his fastball, especially when it's on. This guy can touch 99 with the fastball. It's absolutely ridiculous. He has a 9.38 to Ks per 9, second highest Ks to walk percentage of his career at 18.8. He has, again, 4 ERA, which is an ERA plus of 104, which means it's slightly over the ERA average. She's just a baller, to say the least. So just looking at the eye test, Yusei Kikuchi, a little bit of an interesting windup, but it just gets the job done. They're so good at hiding the ball. With that velocity, with that combination, it's tough for hitters to see it right out of his hand. It's going to be tough. I think we're watching the last little bit of Yusei Kikuchi as a Toronto Blue Jay in these last 3 weeks before the trade deadline.
Yeah, man, it's tough to see because he was the guy that even in his first season with the Blue Jays didn't come out and have the best stuff. He wasn't, this team's best pitcher. But me and you I think we saw the potential. I remember talking about it. We saw the potential in him a little bit. And man, he even blew our expectations out of the water. He's been phenomenal. A great piece to this pitching staff. And honest to God, it's just too bad that he is going to have to be traded, but that's probably where we're going. And I guess I'm tipping my hand of what I think is going to happen. But I think everybody is sort of in agreement in the sense that he's a guy that you can sell high on, and this team needs to do some retooling. And I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. I don't think this is going to be a blow up. I don't think that they're going to completely stand pat. So Yusei Kikuchi is probably the number one trade target for other teams looking at the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's going to be a very, very interesting trade deadline for him because I don't necessarily know what the Blue Jays' plans are. In my head, I would assume that they are going for retooling positions, guys that they can, maybe grab some bullpen arms, maybe grab some stuff. We'll get into more of that, Carter, but I just want to start it with yes or no, Kikuchi being traded before the deadline. I mean, it should be an easy enough answer, but I'm laying this on to you on a silver platter.
Yeah, like obviously for me, it's Vladdy and Bo would be the big trade pieces. I don't want them to go. These guys still have more years on their contract. Yusei Kikuchi in his last year. The way the season's going, man, the way that game happened, he has to. It's just simply he has to. I think that's going to be a guy that doesn't sign back. And what he's on an unbelievable contract. We give him a 3-year, $36 million deal, front load of the contract, $16 million the first year, and 10 and 10. So a guy for you, like a guy like Yusei Kikuchi, who has an arm like Yusei Kikuchi, just paying $10 million for that guy is going to be like he's accessible for every single team. Every single team will be able to afford Yusei Kikuchi. It's just going to be a little bit of a bidding war. The problem with him is that, and it's not necessarily him, it's the Toronto Blue Jays organization, is that you can't just prospect load for Yusei Kikuchi because you're still sort of, I guess, in a win now mode. It doesn't seem like it, but that's where we're at. We still have Kevin Gausman for a couple more years, Chris Bassitt for 2 more. You still have some older pitchers on expiring contracts. So again, we're going to go into that in a different episodes. But if you're not going to move on from those guys, you can't just take a 19-year-old that's going to be up in the league in 5 years. You're going to need a guy that's almost MLB ready or MLB ready talent already. So one thing about Yusei Kikuchi is that in the first year of that deal, it looked like one of the worst deals the Toronto Blue Jays could have made of all time. And then Pete Walker, somebody, whoever it was, got in his ear, tells him to start throwing the curveball more. And since he's been throwing the curveball, his ERA has dropped drastically. He's throwing the curveball. Last year was 18.7%. This year it's up to 25%. And it's getting a lot of swing and miss, and that's what's helping him out a ton. He plays off that fastball so well. You can start throwing sliders in there, start switching it up with the curveball. Just the pitch mix he has just keeps hitters on edge. And I'm just going to quickly go over how often he throws these pitches. So he throws his fastball 48% of the time. It's probably what you want with the guy with high velo. It sits at 95.7 again, can touch 99. Sometimes you'll get the 92 muffin down the middle, I guess. You don't really see that often at all. I don't remember a time I've actually seen that from Yusei Kikuchi this year. Those slider 15.5% of the time. Like I said, the curveball 25.7% of the time. So you can go from about 99 miles per hour and drops the curveball. I think I've seen it as slow as 77. So it's a good changeup. Speaking of the changeup, throws that 10.6% of the time. So a guy that's going to be so valuable for any team making a playoff push, any team that has starting pitching issues. And there's a couple of teams that I picked out. I decided to go over just a few that I think would make sense. One's the Baltimore Orioles. I don't really see that happening, but with guys like John Means out for the season on that Orioles team, looking for starting pitching depth, they would have to give up a boatload of whatever they have. Again, a ton of prospects. Probably not going to take MLB ready talent from them, so it'd be probably for younger guys. But again, they have so many guys that are in AAA that are already ready for the major leagues. Would definitely be a team that we could start looking at. The Milwaukee Brewers, another team, the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland Guardians could do some pitching depth. And then I just have the Los Angeles Dodgers because they're just in on every single deal. They have the money to pay Yusei Kikuchi. They have the money, obviously, to give up prospects, give up MLB-ready talent, and give the Toronto Blue Jays exactly what they need. So, yeah, I have Yusei Kikuchi moving. I don't know where he's going to go, to be honest. Those are just some teams I would have him favored to. But the MLB is a crazy place. You get the Los Angeles Angels buying when they're like 7 games under 500. God forbid if the Toronto Blue Jays buy at this deadline. We're going to have some different conversations. But yes, I think Yusei Kikuchi will be moved at this deadline.
Yeah, man. That is sort of the crazy part. I know, there's a lot of trade talk that goes around, especially around this Blue Jays team this season, well deservingly. But the biggest problem is, and I mean, even people that cover this team and talk about baseball, every minute of every day, like the two of us, it's impossible to really know who is going to go where, what the pieces are going to be. It's a real shot in the dark. And that's how the MLB's sort of always been. And yes, you might get some teams tipping their hand a little bit of guys that they're going to go after. But when you're looking at this Blue Jays team, I think it's very open-ended, and they're going to try to play. In my head, they would try to play for just the best haul that they can get and have teams bidding, because for a guy like Yusei Kikuchi or another guy like maybe Yimi Garcia, teams are going to be going after these guys pretty aggressively. You would think anyway. So pretty much in my head, the ideal return for Yusei Kikuchi would be a decently strong bullpen arm that can, slot in as your maybe a seventh or eighth inning guy. And then, somebody that's either going to be an MLB ready talent or that is MLB, has had some games under their belt and that can maybe fit into this Blue Jays lineup. I mean, you look at this roster and you got to think about other guys that are going to get moved and what positional pieces they need, where they need it. I mean, Kevin Kiermaier's on the last year of his deal, of course, signing the 1-year extension. So there's a lot of places to go with Yusei Kikuchi, and I think it's going to come down to, I would assume that they're going to get some prospects thrown in, probably not highly touted prospects, but they'll probably be thrown in as a sweetener. So I would be watching out for some lower tier prospects to be thrown into that deal as well. And I think it's pretty much a given at this point that he will be moved. I can't see anything really going down until post All-Star break. I think that's pretty much the consensus with this team, is they wanted to see what could happen up until this All-Star break to really make a good decision on where this team stands, if they can make a push. I think it's pretty clear. They haven't been able to sweep series. They haven't barely been able to win series. Yusei Kikuchi, great outing today, which we'll get into. But yeah, his trade stock is just gross. So I think this is a perfect sort of sadly a perfect time for Yusei Kikuchi to get moved off this Blue Jays roster.
Yeah, like you said, you got to look at that at the positions of need. You're going to have a center fielder in Kevin Kiermaier leaving, but then you're going to have George Springer. You're going to have Daulton Varsho. You're going to have to decide what you want to do with David Schneider. Then you have Ernie Clement in the infield, obviously. I mean, it's not a guy you want to rely on all the time. There's Bichette, Vladimir. You're going to trade these guys. So pretty much what this team needs. They need relief help badly if you want to compete for next year, and they definitely need a power bat. Again, maybe you don't get a power bat off a guy like Yusei Kikuchi. These pitchers don't usually go for MLB ready talent, especially guys that hit home runs. So yeah, I'd be happy with, honestly, an outfielder. I feel like an outfielder that can maybe have a little bit of pop would be good. But yeah, the more likely scenario is you get a bullpen arm, you get a highly touted prospect. I'd say within the top 15, wouldn't go as high as like top 7, somewhere in between there. I looked at a couple options. I got guys that were sort of similar to Yusei Kikuchi. Looking at Lucas Giolito last year, obviously did get packaged with Ronaldo Lopez, but they got 3 prospects in return. You look at Michael Lorenzen, a guy that can start, does have a lot of relief outings as well. He got traded for the number 5 prospect in the Philadelphia Phillies. So Yusei Kikuchi, if you're going prospect-wise, wouldn't really make sense for what this team's direction seems like, at least under Ross Atkins. Again, that's another question that you're going to have to discuss, is that obviously it's going to be Ross Atkins' decision. So he's probably going to play for the next upcoming years. Don't really see him going in for a prospect as well. So most likely going to be a bullpen arm. Would be happy with an infielder. Honestly, just anything that can help the Toronto Blue Jays, I guess, for next season, because that seems like that's the direction that they want to go with this team.
Yeah, and that's sort of the interesting part with this Toronto Blue Jays team and the trade that is going to be involving Yusei Kikuchi, is that there's a lot of holes, it seems like, that need to be filled. And then there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. And we've been asking them all season, right? We talk about Ernie Clement. Ernie Clement's not a guy that you're probably wanting as your all-time or your full-time third baseman, right? And when IKF comes back, things will change from injury. But again, is that a guy that you can realistically see relying on for this for the next coming year? And is that the guy you want to put your faith in? And then, yes, of course, the outfield, Davis Schneider this year not really playing up to what you expected of him. So there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. We'll be asking each other probably the same thing. We're going to have to do some thinking as we look over the trades coming up in the next few weeks. Those are the questions we're going to have to ask. Those are the, answers that we're going to try to give you guys. And we're going to bring a couple of guys on to talk about the trade deadline as well. We want to get a little bit of a roundtable going on the discussions, who's going to be moved, who's not going to be moved. We're going to be doing sort of these one-off trade episodes on some guys that we think will probably get moved over the next few weeks. But then, of course, we will have our 2 big episodes of trade talks. So hopefully you guys can tune into those as well. Carter, anything on this Yusei Kikuchi trade before we sort of move on to yesterday's game?
No, the main thing for me is really that if you're going to move on from Yusei Kikuchi, unless you're really planning on re-signing him, bringing him back for another deal, just get something back for him, especially with the direction your team's going in right now. Whether it's a prospect, whether it's even just an okay bullpen arm, we need that so badly on this team. Yeah. Just get anything for him. I'd be happy with just anything that's going to help the Toronto Blue Jays for the future.
I agree. We're going to take a quick break. Crazy game yesterday. We got to go over it. It just frustrating. I could
Blue Jays.
That was typical. I said whatever. I'll get into it right after the break. But me and Carter had some conversations going into when Yusei Kikuchi was pulled from that game. So take a quick break and be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. As I've told you guys so many times before, Booking.com is so easy to use. We've used it for our trips to Toronto. We've used it to our trips to New York. And we're going out to Minnesota in the next sort of bit here. So we're probably going to use Booking.com for that. They make it super easy. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about the rival cities with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation, rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival's city. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today at Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. Today's episode also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, one of my favorite apps on my phone. I say this all the time. It makes buying tickets so easy. We went out to Toronto, got our tickets, all our tickets through Game Time. They have their zone deals, their flash deals, their and they have the best price guaranteed. So it's super easy to use. It gives you the best deals. We saved a ton of money on tickets through Game Time. It was awesome. And the good thing is, if you use our code, it saves you guys some money as well. So yeah, definitely use that. We always talk about the seat views as well. The seat views is such a big part of it. You can know exactly where you're sitting, so you know exactly what your view is. We sat at 3 different locations. We went to Toronto, so it was super good. And we're going down to Minneapolis, like I said. So we're going to be buying all our tickets through Game Time as well there. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Oh my goodness, my man. Oh my goodness. Yesterday's game was just typical. I was going to say disheartening, but it's not. It was typical. I said to you, I think Yusei Kikuchi was getting pulled after 7 1/3 inning. And I looked at you and I sort of said, I'm like, he's still going to get a no decision or a loss tonight. That's what's going to happen. And in typical Blue Jays fashion, that is exactly what happened. Just an all-around, just an all-around terrible day. The boys get 3 hits in today's game, Carter. 3 hits.
Just the most typical Toronto Blue Jays game of 2024. You get unbelievable starting pitching. This guy puts up a career high in strikeouts, previous being 12, which is also pretty good. But you don't win. It's 7 1/3, 2 earned runs, no walks from Kikuchi, and Ernie Clement pimps a baseball too. And everything feels like the world's starting to be right in Toronto Blue Jays land. We would have had a 3-game win streak, which just seems insane. I don't remember the last time that's happened. I think it was middle May, they said on the broadcast. And then, the bullpen collapses. The offense again, 3 hits just isn't good. It's not going to get it done most of the time, even though they fooled me. I'll be honest. They fooled me into thinking they were going to take that game. And Trevor Richards, just not necessarily a bad outing. Don't even want to say. Just a little bit of unluckiness. That pitch you can't throw, obviously, in the bottom of the 9th where it gets by Danny Jansen. That's the main thing I want to talk about here is just the way that bounce just happened. Change up in the dirt. Again, I guess Jano's used to catching curveballs, not used to catching the Trevor Richards changeup that just has a million feet of drop on it. Bounces so high, Jano tries to get a shoulder on it, gets behind him. And I think I've been the most defeated that I've been the entire season. They give you just a little bit of hope. Again, I'm sort of neutralized. I still have a little bit of feeling in me, a little bit of emotion about the Toronto Blue Jays, but it's definitely not as strong as it was at the start of the season. I got a little bit hopeful, and they just tore me down like they have been doing this entire season.
Well, you talk about the unluckiness a little bit with Trevor Richards today, and I couldn't agree more. I can't remember. It was 1 out or 2 outs in the ninth, and he throws
It was 2 outs probably.
2 outs, change up
Yeah.
low, just outside the zone. And that pitch was being called all day long. He doesn't get the call, ends up walking the batter, and then of course it all goes awry. So yeah, I don't know. I think I don't necessarily fully. I know this is going to sound like completely hypocritical, but I don't necessarily know if I just don't blame Trevor Richards or if it just came down to unlucky. Your team didn't get enough hits. The bullpen didn't do what you wanted them to do, but I don't think it was also a bad outing. So it was just a very weird game in the sense that I didn't have the feeling like this bullpen blew the lead. I had the feeling of, and this game just didn't go our way. And that's a little bit how I felt. The offense needs to do better. 3 hits in a baseball game is just terrible. We've talked about the offense and how bad they've been all season long. We've been harping on the bullpen pretty heavily. Watching this game, I don't think it was as bad as maybe if you looked at the stats would tell you. And I think we always talk about the eye test. This was a huge eye test game for me in the sense of looking at this bullpen.
In a bullpen sense, I guess you could say that, but 3 hits from the offense. Like that's not passing any single test I have. See, I didn't even realize you were talking about the umpire play. Yeah, like I'm sort of indifferent on that because he was giving those calls out the entire game, but it's just not a strike. I'd rather just not be called a strike. A lot of low pitches, a lot of outside pitches.
That's not true. Though. That's not true though, because if they had the review system, that's a strike. It still clips the zone. Technically still a strike if the replay system is in effect. So yes, it's a borderline pitch that could have gone either way. But after calling them all game and it's still clipping the zone in the era that we're in talking about this review replay balls and strike system, that's a strike. And so it's not an excuse. I don't want to make it seem like I'm making an excuse for Trevor Richards. He's been good. I think he looked decent in that game. So, yeah, whatever. That's just my 2 cents.
And I don't know. For me on TV, like that zone isn't 100% accurate. That looked low to me. So that's where I was coming from. But I was talking about another pitch where he could have had a strikeout as well. And it's just like an inch lower than the zone. And he called one, I can't remember who was up to the plate, but it was on the Jays. And he called one that was probably 2 inches lower than that even. He called that one a strike. I think it was a strikeout to Bichette. But that all happened with one out. One I thought you were talking about initially was the Leo Jimenez ground ball. Ground ball up the middle, off the glove. It's not a hard hit ground ball. It's a changeup just outside of the zone. It's not a bad pitch from Trevor Richards. That one's with 2 outs. Just gets through. Like that's the one it's tough. If he keeps that even in the infield, you get another chance, get another batter. Hopefully you can get him out. But then again, you have the wild pitch. So in retrospect, you never know what's going to happen though. That completely changed the game. The Toronto Blue Jays are still left. Trevor Richards maybe feels a lot better about the hitter he's facing. I don't know. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's tough. It's just how the Toronto Blue Jays season has gone the entirety of the season, to be honest. And yeah, like you look at the bullpen, I don't know. Trevor Richards has 1 save. I think Chad Green's probably down in the situation. You just don't have anyone. Yimi Garcia, we need him back so bad. Hopefully we'll be back by the end of the week. But yeah, as soon as things go a little bit right for the Toronto Blue Jays, they just all come crumbling down. Seems like within the next day.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really does. And the problem with recounting this game or recapping it is that there was no hits. Usually we like to go over some stats, who did well, who didn't do well. There was nothing offensively. Ernie Clement, good on you. Nice home run. That was hit well. He knew it off the bat, it seemed like. Everybody else, I have nothing to say. It was just bad. 3 hits isn't going to win you baseball games.
Yeah, you got to give one guy's flowers here, and that's my boy, Spencer Horwitz. Spencer Horwitz, because I'm horny for Horwitz. That's where I was going to go with that. Comes in, just a pinch hit double. Just starts that rally. Ernie Clement obviously launches after that, helps him out of time. Spencer Horwitz had 1 at bat, and he had a third of the Toronto Blue Jays hits. But just as we said yesterday, this guy is so hot. Why is he not playing every single day? I don't care who's on the mound. Get him out there. Like the Toronto Blue Jays don't like playing their hot hitters. It seems like doesn't really understand. Like doesn't make sense to me. Ernie Clement's hot a couple of months ago, maybe only a month ago at this point. They just leave him on the bench for 3 straight games. David Schneider's hot at the beginning of the year. They're not playing him every single day. It never fails to amaze me with John Schneider here. And like the little bit of offense you're getting, you'd think you want to like squeeze the rag and squeeze out every single pinch of offense you could get. But just it never seems to happen. Just it's been the problem the entire year, and that's why we've never really faltered. When the Toronto Blue Jays win 2 games in a row, you think maybe there's something going on here, and we're just You look at the team, you look at the offense, you look at the bullpen. It's just over a long season, you got to win games like this, and the Toronto Blue Jays just haven't won a single game like this. It seems like this entire season.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's getting tougher and tougher to watch the games. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're sitting on the couch today, Carter. I was watching the whole game, but I'm doing a little bit of cooking. I'm doing. I was cleaning the house a little bit today, trying to get some stuff done, and that's all the game's going on. So if the Jays are having an amazing season and I'm locked right in, I'm not moving off the couch. But today I was up and I was doing stuff, and that's where I can feel my hope with this team just sort of crumbling and crumbling and crumbling away into nothing. But in saying that, I mean, it's still baseball. I say this every episode. A lot of you guys watching and listening are baseball fans, and it's tough still not to watch. I still love turning on the games. I still love watching Blue Jays baseball. And when they do get a win, I get super excited. And that's probably just the super homer, terrible fan in me. But I get really excited for the wins, and I get really upset about the losses. And that's just where we're at with being fans of this team this year.
Yeah, I'm just going to add one more thing. I want to get a stat. I'm not sure if it's going to be this week, when it's going to be, but I want to get a stat with the Toronto Blue Jays starting pitching, throws 6 innings and gives up 3 earned runs or less, and just see what our win-loss record is. I feel like it's just horrendous. We have this conversation so often on this podcast. It's just ridiculous, whether it's the offense fumbling, whether it's the bullpen just throwing away baseball games. They just find new ways to lose almost every single week. It's the Toronto Blue Jays might set records this year, which is a stat that I was going to bring up before. Is the Toronto Blue Jays? I don't have the numbers on. I think I saw this from a tweet. I wish I would have screenshotted it. But the Toronto Blue Jays double plays this year and their home runs is abnormally close. I think they have like 4 more home runs than they have grounded into double plays. Again, just some of those Blue Jays stats. It's just like, how do you expect it to go well when this is a stat that actually exists? Just blows my mind. But we got another game to recap. We're going to have a bunch more throughout the season. Hopefully isn't as long as this start of the first half of the season has just made me feel. I mean, this game just makes me wonder why I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. But saying that, I just want to throw it over to the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today, or the Amazon Fire TV's channel app, whatever is more convenient for you, 24/7, WNBA. The top 4 sports, major 4 in the United States, and I should say North America, as we are Canadian. I guess sometimes forget about that in the MLB. But yeah, just another game. Just hopefully Matt Chapman strikes out more often. We'll break it down coming up after this short break. Today's episode is also sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you can pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in as little as 60 seconds. Matt Chapman less than hit. I figured Matt Chapman was just going to get absolutely abused by this Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff. The Vladdy one, not great from Vladdy. Obviously should have thrown something on Yusei Kikuchi strikeouts. Obviously should have thrown something on Matt Chapman strikeouts as well. Didn't get either of those ones. Maybe next time if I'm using my brain, especially for the Yusei Kikuchi one, I'll be able to get some of those right. But if you know which players are going to perform on specific nights, this is a no-brainer. Download Prize Picks and start making your entries today. You can download the app and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100.
So, guys, just a quick thing before we sort of move on here. I am off tomorrow. Skylar Peters will be filling in for me. Him and Daulton are sort of our go-to fill-ins. You guys seem to be liking them as well. They're really good guys, knowledgeable fans, and they're just involved. They're like me and Carter in the sense that it doesn't necessarily matter how this team is doing. They're going to be sitting there and watching the games and and looking up stats and sitting there and talking with their buddies. They're good dudes to have on. They're fun insights. They're our friends. They're just good guys to have around. And so Skylar's gonna be filling in for me tomorrow. Dallin might come on as well one of these times. We got a huge trade deadline sort of episodes coming out as well. Big roundtable we're going to do, get everybody's thoughts, opinions, because like we said, me and Carter talk a lot of Blue Jays together, the two of us. And so to bring in those two guys as well, get their outside perspective on guys that necessarily we don't talk with every single day about this and about the trades. It's going to be very interesting. And I think getting more ideas out there and more thoughts, I think, is always better. And just building sort of the hype around the Blue Jays trade deadline, because this is the time of year. So, yeah, sorry that I'm not here. One more thing I got for you guys. Wander Franco was officially charged. Get this man out of the MLB. I cannot stand this. There's been so much of this stuff going around. I don't want to get too into it. But I don't know what the deal is with famous people and athletes and whatever else it is with this, this sort of stuff. I don't want to get too into it, but I don't know what's going on. But there needs to be some crackdown. So good news or bad news, whatever you want to call it, it's never good. I hope that this would never happen, but it's good at least that they're cracking down on some of this stuff. But Carter, the guys need a bounce back win.
Yeah, I'm just going to say one more thing about the Wander Franco stuff. Just protect the kids. So anything like that happens. Obviously, there's evidence about it happening. Just proven scumbag. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Absolutely.
Kevin Bichette launches yesterday. First home run as a Dodger. It was going to happen eventually. 197 on the season he's hitting, though. So, I mean, let's bring back Kevin Bichette. We definitely need him on the team. I guess, yeah. Last thing, also, I wanted to bring this up. Do you want to tell him why that you're not going to be on the podcast tomorrow? Or is that just a little bit classified? You're not going to let him in on the life of Brandon Wasco.
Yeah, no. So, it's been crazy lately. We both have full-time jobs, as you guys know, or going to school in Carter's sense, obviously off school for the summer. Myself, I work in radio, a lot of crazy shifts. I've been bouncing up and down the past 2 weeks a little bit. Hosted our Jets at Noon show, talk about the Winnipeg Jets, hosted that on Monday. And it's just been crazy. This weekend, we got our buddy coming back into town. We haven't seen him in forever. So we sort of have a day booked off with him to sort of hang out. And no, there's just some other stuff going on in my life that I'm trying to make, a little, at least one day work here and there. And it's been 2 weeks and I haven't been able to.
I just thought you were going to say no, I'll be honest. I didn't think we were going to get the full breakdown here. But,
there you go. Yeah, no. And it just, I haven't been able to make time. So I had to, I worked till late tomorrow night as well. So I just sort of had to, move some things around. Skylar said, "Hey, if you need some help, buddy, I'm here." I said, "Okay, perfect. You want to help me out tomorrow?" He said, "Absolutely. I'm there for you." So I really appreciate that. A lot going on. It's it's just been a crazy couple weeks, Carter. I mean, we even with the games, late games too for the Blue Jays for us. I mean, the games are starting at 9:45 or 8:45. So it's just absolutely good luck getting up for a 5 a.m. shift for me or 7 a.m. shift for the both of us. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah, crazy things we're in here. Just so the people know, I guess they're not getting the full experience with Brandon Wasco, but once in it's like a solar eclipse is what is happening tomorrow. So,
come on, man.
So we gotta just give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, we'll have some full breakdowns on the Toronto Blue Jays games. But quickly, 8:45 starts during weekdays. I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that. This is it's pretty unfortunate right now. It's 12:30. So, and then not great for the sleep schedule. But moving on to the Giants and the Toronto Blue Jays game. Obviously, Logan Webb. He's good. He's good at baseball. I'll leave it at that. And then you got Chris Bassitt. He's also pretty good at baseball. I'm probably hammering the under on this game. It's gonna be a pitching duel. I just want Matt Chapman to strike out a bunch again. That was kind of awesome. I don't got much else. The Toronto Blue Jays, let's go for more than 3 hits. Let's try 4. Let's try 4 hits for this game.
Wow.
But one other thing I will say is that Elliot Ramos, that guy's pretty cool. I wish the Toronto Blue Jays had a guy like that, just hitting for a little bit of power. Young guy, obviously tough on the Spencer Horwitz double. I guess not the greatest defender out there. Don't know too much about his defensive skills, but Dalton Varsho's making that catch. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, other than that, the Giants got some stuff to look forward to. They're not a great team, I don't think. The Toronto Blue Jays still can't beat them. Doesn't really change things. But that's where I'm going to leave it. Just tough loss. Probably the worst loss of the season.
Yeah, and it's tough. I like obviously we talked. Sorry, just going back to what you were saying about late games, and it's tough. We want to get you guys all the sort of best information we can. We sit there, we sort of talk it out for a little bit. And yeah, it's 12:30 right now. Our episodes come out at 4 a.m. By the time that this episode is edited, posted, and ready to rock, it might just go up immediately. There might not be a premiere that we usually set for it. But yeah, like I said, a lot of baseball left this week. Hopefully the guys can, sort of dial it in, pick up a few wins. Couple more slow pitch games, Carter, for us. Fun weekend, hopefully coming up here. Bombers Friday. Me and you just, we're into it right now. Hopefully we get that, a little bit of the All-Star break. We're going to be able to, catch up on a bunch of stuff there. With you guys, just some stuff that we've wanted to talk about, but necessarily haven't at the time. And of course, the big trade deadline episodes that I'm going to be teasing for the next little while, because it is going to be, I think, very interesting to see the different perspectives on who different guys want to see moved. Let us know down in the comments below as well. From you guys, we want to get your guys' opinion. Who do you want to see moved? Give us a list. Maybe we'll go over them and we'll talk about if they're realistic or not in that episode as well. So leave us comments and just say, hey, this is for the trade deadline episode, and we'll go over whatever you guys think as well on that one, because we're going to spend a lot of time. If it's 2 episodes, if it's 3 episodes, whatever it has to be, we're going to break it up over the week. So hope you guys enjoyed. Carter, I know that these guys should probably go check out the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel. They have all your sports that you want covered by our Locked On experts as well on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. You guys can see us on there as well once in a while. So if you want to go take a look for that, you can. It's available anytime, 4 a.m., 4 p.m., I don't know, midnight if you want, whatever it is. While you're watching, while we're probably editing the podcast, there's shows going on. So you can go check that out. I don't know, Carter, anything else before we sort of get out of here?
No, last thing I'm going to say is for this week, like with slow pitch, we might as well be major leaguers as well. Off day Wednesday. I mean, we had a little bit of a rain out today, which or Tuesday is the day we're recording this. I guess technically it is Wednesday. Still at the time, but yeah, we might as well be major leaguers. We're posting 5 days for episodes, playing 4 games, 3 games now of baseball. Obviously working during that as well. But I again wish Toronto Blue Jays were playing better baseball, but nothing else I'd rather be doing on a Wednesday morning, I guess you could say. But that's all I got. Well, me and Skylar will be on tomorrow. Obviously, I'll probably get a TikTok out tomorrow. Definitely not doing it today, Braden. It's up to you today, man. Like you don't work till 1:30, so it's all up to you. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Likes, comments, subscriptions. Always it's a good time. Even if there's just a little bit of slander about the Joey Votto takes, I guess he's whatever. I'll just leave it at that. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.